Okay everyone, I'm back with another video. We're going to get this thing done sooner or later, and it's really starting to look like a grinder now. Today I'm going to be working on the flat piece to put behind this belt, and we're going to be working on our rest out in front where we're going to have for our knives to rest on. Now I'm not going to make this super big because I can make more of these. I can make these all day long. And if I want them in an angle, I can twist them in an angle and I can make it to where it's in an angle. I probably even could make one to where I can adjust back and forth in an angle. But I'm not really crazy about that right now. When I do my knives, I'll be using a jig that I had made on the 1x32 inch grinder. It worked well for me, so I didn't want to mess with that. So today we're going to be working on the back plate here and this well, what do you call it? Material rest? I don't know. But anyhow, that's what we're going to be working on. So I'll get you up here a little closer and show you what materials I'm going to be working with today. Alright, this is just a piece of 1/4 inch steel. I think it's about 7.5 inches wide, and let me get a tape measure here because I don't remember. I have so many different projects going at the same time, it's just not funny. It looks almost say 3 5/8 by 7 and we'll say 3/4, 7 3/4. So this is going to be our rest. And I was just down under the counter and I found a piece of metal. This is a piece of angle. I didn't have to cut it. And I'm going to use this for behind my my belt, sanding belt. I probably will try to clean this up a little bit more, but I tried to get, you know, the roughness off of it. So, and the reason why I'm going to use this plate is it is exactly 2 inches. And that's going to fit perfect on there. I drilled a couple 1/2 inch holes with a couple 1/2 inch bolts on there. And what I noticed, if I put a washer on here and put that on and bolt that to that, it's actually perfect right behind that sanding belt. So this will be drilled in and put on. So let me show you here what else we're working on here. Now I kind of got this marked out a little bit. You can see I got a couple marks on here. This is where it's going to stop right there. Make sure you can see that. Okay, it's going to stop right there. That allows me about, let's see, this piece is actually 8 or 7 5/8 long. That allows me about 4 inches to go back in here. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do the same thing that I did up here on this one, where I bent the bolt. Frank, I hope you got one of these on yours now. That was an easy one, so I'm going to put another one of these right on the side over here on this side where I'm going to put my rest will go in there, and I'll be able to reach around and crank it tight. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to work on a bolt on this side, or a nut in that bolt. I already have it, the head cut off of it and grounded it down. I got it all ground down, so don't cut your fingers. I'm going to work on drilling the hole for this through that metal and then get it welded on there and get this piece bent so I can tighten this down. Okay, being that we had 4 inches in, I figured I'd measure in 2 inches about the center, and this is where we're going to drill our hole. I went ahead and center punched it, so now I'm going to get it drilled out so we can get this thing welded in. Okay, we got it back on the grinder here. I'm just going to go ahead and heat this thing up, and I'm gonna bend it in upward. Well, matter of fact, I think I'm gonna bend it down this way. That way, when I go to tighten it, I can pull it to the front. Okay, now that will allow me to pull it straight down to tighten it, so it's in this angle. It'll probably be down in here somewhere when it's tight, so it's out of the way. Alright, you can see now when I give it a torque, you can move this in and out. You can move your thing in and out of here, your tool, or where you're going to put your work. And now when you tighten it up, it's basically straight down. It's not too bad. It's tilted a little bit front, but that's where I want it to lock, so I can reach over here and pull it down. It's going to be out of the way of everything else. So now we're going to start working on either or these two. I'm not sure yet, but I want to make sure it's square and level. Now when I built this thing, for some reason, this thing, I mean, I tried to get it as square as I could with this rod going back down through here, but I'm not sure if putting this bolt straight down on there is, you know, was that seam, I'm not sure if that seam was on the bottom, and it might have tilted this one way or the other, because I actually, to get my belt a little closer, if you look down in here, I put a washer in there. I put this washer in here. Now the bottom one doesn't have that washer, but it pushed this pulley out a little bit further. So I'm just basically trying to line everything up. Now I'm going to get everything square with this belt. So that's going to be tough, but we'll get her done. I may have to, when I put the, when I do my thing in the back here, I just want to make sure it's square with this belt. And then 90 degrees to my bench. We want this to be 90 degrees here, up and down. So that way when you're grinding a knife or whatever you're grinding, you definitely want a straight 90 degree. So it's a tough one. I'm going to figure it out and then I'll get you guys back in here. Okay, this is the part I'm going to work on next. I'm going to try drilling. I got some 1/2-inch bolts. I laid this guy up in here. Got it just where I want it. And I marked out a couple holes where I'm going to drill these. Now I'm going to try to make them a little oblong, you know what I mean? So I'll have just a little bit of play with them. Now these are a 1/2-inch bolt. We're using a pretty heavy bolt to go through here, but it'll give it more strength and I won't have to worry about it. You know, these are going to be straight. If I use something thinner, it's possible it could be bent in one way or another. So I'm going to go ahead and drill these couple holes out here, take this thing all apart and get these holes drilled out and see if I can oblong them a little bit. I don't know that I can, but I'm going to try. Alright, I got the holes drilled out. I tried to waller them out a little bit with the drill bit, but I may eventually have to do this, get like a die grinder or something and go in there and make them a little bigger. But what I've done here is just bolt, these are 1/2-inch bolts. I pull them in there. Now it's going to take a couple washers actually to line me up with this belt. So we're just going to slide them in here. Now I have a little bit of play, but not much. I'm hoping that this is going to give me enough. See, we got a little bit, not much, but if we have to use a die grinder or something to clean them out, we will. So basically I need to get the belt in here. Okay. Alright, let me show you what I'm looking at right now. And I don't know that this matters or not, but right here, we're about flush. Let me get back here. right here I'm about flush with that plate, and then this side of the plate is sticking this way. So I may have to do another washer behind this one to line it up with this belt, so this belt's running true with that plate right there. I don't know if that matters or not, but I'm gonna bring that back a little bit so I can it'll run true with this belt. I'm trying to get everything to line up with the belt because the belt is actually already there. So I'm going to work on this, and then we're going to put our plate in there and try to get it square with the plate behind it. Alright, I got the backing rest here out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to weld these 2 bolts in here. And with me welding these 2 bolts in here, I'll be able to adjust without a nut behind this. Instead of putting washers in there, I'll be able to pull it one direction or the other direction with just the nuts. So I'm going to go ahead and weld these up. Now with those 2 bolts welded through there, I was able to leave a space on this side. Instead of putting washers in there to put it where I want it, I can actually adjust one more than the other one and make sure it's square with the paper. So it's not looking too bad, but we're getting the bugs worked out of it. Now to try to get the table perfectly square with this piece here, where your sandpaper is, I put a couple of these 90-degree angle magnets on there, and I stuck them on there. But I also took the square and went off the sides, because if this thing is not perfect in there, and I went off to the side to make sure that it was 90 degrees that way. So I think I'm okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and tack that on this side over here, because I'll still be able to adjust this in and out to get it away from this. So I'm going to go ahead and tack this piece over here and see how it's set up there. Okay, I got what I was looking for. I'm square this way, and I'm also square this way with the plate to that, where the sanding paper is going to run. So I got a tack here and I got a tack here. All I got to do is finish welding that around. I think that's going to be a pretty good little table. Now, eventually, if I want to make a bigger table, I can. It's all just a piece of 3/4 inch solid stock and whatever size plate I want to make. Most of my knives are pretty small right now, and this will actually do a fairly decent sized knife for me. So, and then later, if I want to increase the size of the table, I can do that. But I can also keep this one too. I'll tell you what, guys, I think this is going to be a great little grinder. Everything's starting to turn out. I know the motor still needs adjusted over a little bit, which is probably going to pull this belt over on this pulley a little bit, which is okay. We need to adjust a little bit, but I still got to tear this thing all apart. Once it's done, tear it apart and get it painted. So it's not all tweaked perfect, but by the time I get done with it, it should be really decent machine. So I'm going to show you this thing grind, and I'll tell you what, it's going to be awesome. Nothing like that 1x30 sander I got from Harbor Freight. I don't think you're going to shut this grinder down. This grinder is going to grind. It's going to hog some metal off. Look at the side of that blade where that thing dug it up. I mean, this thing will grind. Like I said, there's no stopping it. It's got the power you need. That 1.5 horsepower works perfect. Everything on this machine so far is working really good, and hopefully it continues to work great for me. But we're gonna, right now, I'm probably gonna go ahead and start tearing the machine down. And once we get the machine all tore down, I'll get it all wire brushed and cleaned. And like I said, we'll move the motor around. Everything should be adjusted pretty decent. We'll have to adjust everything again, but it doesn't matter. We got a functioning grinder here that's going to work good for many, many years. So let's get this sucker tore apart and get her cleaned up, get her painted. Well, there's all the parts. We got them cleaned up there. And now I'm going to give them a coat of primer. And then we're going to put some paint on. Alright everyone, it's starting to come together now. We got it painted. I'm just taking my time and I'm chasing all the threads, cleaning all the threads out from where there might be paint in them, and putting a little bit of oil on the threads. And inside these tubes I'm putting a little bit of spray and a little bit of WD down in there, just so it don't rust up anymore. Anything that might be metal. Now you got to watch, because if you put too heavy of a paint on your rods here, some of them that go in and out, like your table and stuff, it may be a little bit harder to get in and out. You might take some off. So I just did a light coat on them so it would still go in and out. And then I put a coat of oil on the inside of these. That way they don't rust up, hopefully no more. So we're going to keep her going. We'll show you guys when we get her all back together. Well everyone, it's done, it's painted, it's put together, and it runs really great. It's a good smooth running grinder. I know you see a lot of them on YouTube, and yes, I did watch a lot of videos on YouTube, got a lot of ideas off of YouTube, and I also tried to bring a little bit to the table myself, as in putting in the lockdown tensioner, which makes it easier to use both hands to take your belt on and off. So that I thought I'd bring to the table, and if you guys want that idea, feel free to use it on your own grinder. That's why I make these videos, to help you make it and maybe not make the same mistakes I did. So the grinder is definitely done. In the future, I plan on putting a big wheel on the front, maybe a couple small wheels, but I'm going to do that later. I'm going to start building another forge. We're going to be doing a gas forge. We built a coal forge. We're going to be building a gas forge. We're not going to, I don't think we're going to buy a lot of stuff for that project. I think I have just about everything I need for that project. And I'll do a video on that, what supplies I have for that, and you can let me know what you think. But as far as this grinder goes, I don't think there's absolutely anything that I need to do to this thing to make it any better right now. Now, to let you guys know, I did build this thing, and I built it basically, you know, my dad passed away when I was building this grinder. Well, the idea is to build one grinder for practice, and then to build another grinder to keep. So really, there's actually a brand new motor sitting over there that's never been fired up. It's brand spanking new. It didn't come off a table saw. There's brand new wheels. Ordered all brand new wheels again, so there's another set of wheels coming. There's going to be another grinder. Now what I'll do with this one, I'm not sure yet, but this really works smooth. This is a smooth working grinder. I tried to stop the wheel a couple times, shoving some metal into it. I can't stop it. There ain't no stopping this machine. It will grind. I'll fire it up for you, let you listen to it run. It runs so much smoother than having the wheels on here from the roller skates, so we went ahead and switched to all the aluminum wheels, or whatever they are, I'm not sure, but we got all new wheels on it, and there's really no vibration in it at all. The little rubber legs on the bottom really helped out a lot too. I think that helps out a lot for the vibration too, which helps it absorb some. Keeps it from sliding around on my bench top. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe, leave me thumbs up, thumbs down, or a comment if you'd like. Till next time. I'm going to give you one last go around, a little close up of everything. I'll show you my locking mechanism again. Push it down, it locks. Push it down and over a little bit and it comes right back up. I don't know if I showed you all this, but in the back of this you can see where that piece of angle iron, I cut a slot out for it. So when you put the metal down in there, it goes right down inside there. So if you guys, you know, like I said, if you want to use the idea, you're welcome to it. It's basically just the old motor. I just painted it up. Everything seems to work good. And I don't know if I showed you guys this. I know I built this one day. When I had the roller skates on there, this thing was vibrating like crazy. So it would keep, it was actually vibrating so much that it was turning this wheel. So I just welded a nut and then a little dowel to that. And I could lock it down so it wouldn't go nowhere. But I just leave it hang there. If I need it, I have it. Everything on the front here, you guys pretty much seen it all go on. Now I know I probably shouldn't have painted this thing, but it'll wear off. Everything seems to work really good. I just wanted to give you guys a little close-up of everything so you could see how it's built. And if you watch the videos, I'm sure you got all the measurements on it. Like I said, that's an old motor. That's a 1.5 horse. And I'll show you the new motor. I actually got a new one over here if you guys want to take a peek at it. This one here I picked up. It's 1.5 horsepower. It's going to go on our next grinder that we build. And should be pretty good.